Hi, this is Miss Lisa, the sewing lady of Pinellas Park, Florida, USA. Today, we are returning to darts. And as you know, I've been telling you guys I've lost weight. Yeah! Well, Dolly got a refit. This is Dolly with everything. Yeah, this is kind of what I look like. There's a bulge here, there's a little bulge here. Now I'm hanging out a little lower here. But that's what she looks like. And this is, I know I probably mentioned them to you, this is what I call the, it's just some fishing weights. And what it does is it hangs down straight from the top, and you can even use one around your neck so you get your absolute center line, which you need to know where it is. Some people's center line isn't directly here. Sometimes it's a little over. That little over can make it not fit. So what I am going to do is, for Dolly's sake, a little modesty, I have a dress that actually fits tight enough, which is nice. Yes, my wardrobe is changing. And that way, it's also easier for me to do all the pinning and fun stuff that I'm going to show you. I did get around to making my own croaky that fits me. Yes, the other one was so far off that it looked like a baggy old lady dress. So, yeah, it had to go. So, yeah, and you'll see there's pins in this dress because one of the reasons it's not going to make it in the wardrobe is because it's never going to fit me right. Why? Because my neckline is not that wide. And oh, look who's visiting! It's Xavier! You know him. I want to be part of the film. So, yep, he's going to lay right on my stuff just like a cat would. Hard getting the zipper up on this dress. Don't know why. It's not that tight. But always a pain. Because look at this. It won't put the seam where I want it. And if the seam isn't where you want it, then you got troubles. Now, just so you guys get an idea of some of the fitting problems I've been through most of my life, wait till you see this one. This one will make you say, oh my goodness, woman, no wonder you sew. Look at the back of this dress. See all that fabric? See? You know what? That is the part I would be taking off of here if I could. But this dress is too much of a pain in the butt to take apart, so that's why she's covering Dolly. So I have to pin this off so this sits right. Now, problem is you don't want to make the armholes go wonky, which mine are. But yeah, I have pinning problems on here. I have a lot of darts that would go into the pattern itself, or I should say the croaky, before I could even make a dress. And that's why you're going to see my new one today, and you're going to see how all of this gets pinned together to make it fit Miss Lisa. See that? Isn't that horrible? All that taking in just for one dress. Imagine. And I've done this for my whole life. Mr. Xavier is going to get off of what we're working on today because this is the dart you've all been wondering about. And when I made my new croaky, I didn't stitch everything together. Reason why? I wanted you to see some of the dart modifications I have to make a pattern work. Now this is the back, and you can see there's markings all over it. That is a shaped dart. Normally you wouldn't be using a shaped dart for this, but my body It's weird. That's what fits the best. So we're just gonna pin her up on the back. And yes, you're hearing pins falling because they like to. Fortunately, I have the magic magnet on a stick. Otherwise, they'd be sitting there. Alright, I'm just gonna pin her at the top and show you a little bit of why you need to understand some of this stuff. And you never have a time where it's not hard to pin something somewhere, somehow, some way. Alrighty. Gotta get her right where she belongs. And that's right about, yeah, here. Okay. That's the back. And the front dart is the one I have gotten more than enough messages about. What is it about doing this front dart? Well, interesting point. I read a lot, and when I read a lot, I usually find out new things. And one of the most interesting things I found out was this. When you're trying to figure out your dart versus your side seam, the front is going to have a much longer piece here, especially from here up. See where I got these little black dots? Yeah, you can see the big black dots. Those are the dart. Now, here's where that problem starts. Alright, here's the dart, right? And normally, for the rest of you maybe, the dart would probably go way up here and end maybe about there. Okay? I'm not built that way. Mine goes almost directly across. Hard to get to do what I want. And yes, that is a problem. If I had to do all commercial patterns, that's where I'd be spending my time. And I am going to have a couple of videos where I am going to go over everything you want to know about a commercial pattern, from, you know, McCall's, Berta, whatever pattern, Simplicity, McCall's, any of those patterns. I am going to have a few for those of you who just need a little extra help in that area. But as you can see, mine's different. Now, the interesting point for this is if you're making your own pattern and you need to add a dart, what you end up doing is taking your fabric, putting it up here, and then putting it to the side, and you're going to have fabric that kind of hangs around, okay? What you need to do, and this is the interesting part, if you make this a lot longer, you're going to just make your dart and match it up to the underhole of the back. Chances are you're going to get it pretty close. Otherwise, you're just going to do a little trim to fit. But this is like the only way to make these darts. Really simple. You go bust point, you go over about maybe about an inch towards your side seam, and that's where your dart will start. You don't want to start it right on your bust point, because that's not a cool thing unless you're really into the atomic look. So start from a little ways away, and then you just make it fit. You know, I mean, if you look, there's nothing out of place there. Yep, throwing the pins again. And it'll fit properly. I know there's more to it than that, but for right now, that's a lot. When we get down to, I show you sketching a dart, we will have quite a long segment, because there is a lot to figure out when you're doing it. So that dart still has to have a little bit of time before we teach it. Now I'm just going to cover this basic dart, and then I'm going to show you, you can put darts anywhere. If you look at some of the really chic clothing, you will see that some of them use darts decoratively. How I did that back dart, where I shaped it, see how it shapes in a little bit? Mine actually rounds in just a wee bit. And that's just so it'll fit me more comfortably, and I don't like my dress hanging so far back that everybody taller than me, which is most of the people, can look straight down my back. Nobody needs to see my undies. But whenever you need a dart, for me, it's the shoulders. I get very narrow shoulders. It's a curse. It really is. I have had people tell me, there's no way you can have them that narrow. Well, I do. And I've even shown them the measurement in my arm, but there's always those people that don't believe me. And so I end up having to take a huge amount of fabric out of my shoulder seam. And then I have the additional problem that instead of going straight across, my shoulder hangs down on the edges. You know what? A lot of people do. They just aren't aware of it until they realize, my shirt doesn't feel right. It doesn't sit where it's supposed to. It's always hanging off. My bra's showing. That's one of those things. That's what you need to do. You need to check and see if your arm needs that little change there. How can you do it? Put this on. Stand and look at yourself in the mirror. And here's a good example, because this dress does it too, even though it's very lightweight. And until it feels comfortable, you take the seam area and you just pinch the fabric up. And it's usually not more than, on mine it's probably about an inch, but most people maybe a half inch. And only one arm might need it. Me, it's 2 arms. But all you do is you lift it up until you feel it feels right. This is also a thing about that underarm. If you're cutting, you try to cut it higher so you're comfortable where it sits. But sometimes it'll bring it up a little bit. But you don't want to use this seam to make that adjustment. You want to just cut the fabric so it comes up higher on you. And if you did your measurements from the first measurement thing, you will remember we did the armhole size. You need to check that against what you're doing. If you're using a commercial pattern, you take the number, you take it around, and make sure it fits. A lot of times, I find the pattern is so big that it's like, well, geez, do I really want to show down to here? No. So, adjustment, adjustment, adjustment. No. This was why we make patterns. But if you're going to do those commercial patterns, I'll show you how to make the changes. Okay. Making a dart is taking the widest point that you've got. Now what I did was I pinned this together, and I still need another pin because I forgot that one. And you match these guys up. And once you do that, let's get this pin out of the way. I have all this fabric in the middle. And so what did I do? I created a dart for it. Now when I created the dart, I made it so the shoulder seam is going to be much narrower. Plus I'm cutting off some of the shoulder seam. So this is probably going to lose that much. But when I measured this part for my armhole was way wrong. I had to raise it up a bit, and then even with what I'm taking out, I just have just the armhole size I want. Usually you want to let it go maybe 1-2 inches below your actual armhole size, unless you want it hanging low. Then you've got to measure it and decide how low you want to go. But whenever you find that you have fabric that's like this, that makes a big bunch there, you pin it off. You don't cut it, you just pin it off. And then the biggest problem with doing these darts is, where do I stop? Well, that's kind of up to you. It has to do more with your body than anybody else's. For me, I took it down here because I would like a much more shaped dress. A lot of people, if they have to narrow it down, they'll make these little tiny, maybe this long, I think that's about 1.25 inches or so, darts, and they might make 2 of them here, or they might make some back here. I've done that a lot because my back is not straight. It's got a little round to it, and that's where I add a dart. Whenever it doesn't fit Dolly the way I want it to, I put a dart in. So you're going to make a lot of darts if you have the shape problems I do. Maybe you're lucky and you don't need to do so many. But I just thought I'd let you know how it's done. But if you pinch off this much here, then you got to decide how far down you want it. Now for me, I want this fitted because look at it, it's baggy. So I bring it down to a point, and then I pin it off and make sure this is what I really want. Whoops, gotta go the other way. Now, when I do this, I try to follow my center line, because the center line is really where you start. Then the side lines are where you stitch. So, we let it come all the way down to there. And see, it took out a lot of that bagginess. I really don't like having it as loose as this one is, you know. Now, I want a nice dress. The front one, again, here's Dolly. Alright, Dolly's kind of sort of like my body, but believe me, making a size 10 Dolly fit a woman who's many more sizes than that is a little difficult. But she gets the job done. I even lowered my bust point on this one. Yeah, the ladies aren't hanging as high as they used to. So, I end up with this really weird kind of dart for me. A lot of times I end up reshaping a dart just so I won't have a problem with it. But this is how mine's going to end up. But when I'm done, mine's going to sit right about there. Yeah, I know. Weird body. Sorry about the little blip you're going to see, but we had a family emergency and had to take a break. So now we're back and we're going to continue on. Now, darts is what makes it fit. If you didn't have one, everything would be nice and baggy like this dress. Okay? This thing has nothing. And it looks like it. It makes me look huge. So that's why you like darts. Now, last time we did show you that one where you were able to make one that brought your waist in. That one's really nice. I have a dress I will show you I am very proud of, because when I got the dress, it's store-bought. Somebody sent me a dress that fit me in the waist, fit me in the hips, and the dress top was out to here. Do you know how much taking in that is? A lot. But I got it done, and the dress does look good, and I look hot in it, so yeah, I'm going to show it off. But not this week, maybe next week. Alright, when you're doing your darts, always make sure you find the actual point of your bust, okay? Your nipple is the point. I don't know why everybody's afraid of using that word, but hey, that's what it is. And that's the exact point. If you have your croquis, it doesn't hurt if you just make a circle right where it is so you know where you're working to. I didn't mark mine, I should have, but you know how that goes. And then you notice, in the side seam, when you bring this up, I'm going to leave it just like if I was normal like you people, okay? It will make it so the sides match up, and in my case, I made the pattern a little longer in the back, and it was just a matter of I was lazy cutting. But the dart will fit, and then your seams will match. That's the big thing. When you make a dart, it will make it so the underarm seam matches. If it's a little off, that's okay. But you don't want it to be way off. If it's way off, we got to redo that dart. And you just want to bring it up just enough so it comes across and it just shapes with you. It gives you a little more definition. So, instead of being sacky like this, if I put darts in this, look at how much better it would look. Big tip. Okay. There are so many patterns that have so many different ways of making the dress different. And darts have a lot to do with it. Darts and pleats. Now pleats are a little different because you don't bring them to a point. You would take the material straight up and down and you pinch and then you'd stitch. And when you stitch it, that makes darts. Now you may have seen those real pretty nighties and well, I've seen blouses too where they got tiny little tucks down the front in little parallel rows, and it's very pretty. Something you do, you make those little pleats on a piece of fabric that's way bigger than your pattern, and then you match it to your pattern. Then you can put that in there. If you want to do it on a dress, to say you don't want to do that side dart, a good place to do it near the waist. You can do really tiny ones actually, but you can do them about from the center to maybe a quarter of the distance from the center to the seam. So in my case, it would probably be from there to there. And you just make little tiny pinches, real tiny. You stitch them real close, and you do a whole bunch of them, and it sucks up that excess fabric, and it makes a very pretty decorative look, which is something you want. The more you do patterns, the more you're going to want to experiment. Me, I'm into fabric manipulation. Basically, that's using a lot of tucks and darts. Millions of them all over the place, or really big ones. If you go up on Pinterest, I can't think of the other one that they have out now, you can go up there, put fabric manipulation in, and see all these gorgeous, gorgeous things people have done just folding the fabric and making little pleats. Gotta check it out, because man, if you can get to the point where you do them, your life will be a thrill, because sewing with all that decorative makes a gorgeous item. I don't care if it's blouse, dress, even on pants. I saw a pair of pants where, believe it or not, it had 18 seams. That's a lot of seams. And each one of them was made into a little tuck. Very, very nice looking. I was amazed. But this is something we're going to get into, because I've got a pants pattern that's going to be coming up after this dress is done. And we are going to be ready to start cutting our dress next week. I know you've been waiting and waiting for me to do that. So that's coming up. I'm excited about doing it because I'm making a dress with you. And I got that pretty fabric waiting and waiting for me. Just like you're waiting for me. I promise I'm not going to take any more time off for a while until the end of August. we're gonna get these out so you guys don't feel I'm walking away from you, because I noticed some of my numbers have gone down, so somebody went bye-bye, and I'm hoping you guys will stay. You're my friend. So we're gonna finish right here, right now, and we're gonna be back. So give us a couple of minutes, we got something to do. So now it's time for us to leave you. I need you to remember to do those 3 things I ask of you every time. Thumbs up for me. Hey, I worked hard for you guys. Ring the bell. You'll always get the next episode. And don't forget, you want to subscribe. If you know from the past, it's free. Nobody pays. It just lets us know that you are looking at our video. And we like to know those things, you know. And so, the best thing you can do is share what I teach you. Because what was freely given to me, I freely give to the world. Thank you. See you next week.